So I talked about this gun. I did a tabletop review on this thing. For those of you who haven't seen that, this is a Tippmann M4-22 Elite. For all the differences between all of their different models, you'll have to refer to their website. But this thing is an awesome training tool. Battery of arms in terms of the charging handle is similar to an AR-15, only it's polymer instead of aluminum. They sell an aluminum one for $100, which I probably won't end up putting that on here because the polymer one seems to work fine, serves its purpose. Obviously the throw is not as long as what it would be to charge your typical AR-15, so that's going to be different, but the size and weight and everything of this particular model, it is virtually identical to my ARs, and I try to set it up somewhat similar. They come with these plastic backup sights, and then they come with a different pistol grip and a different buttstock. I changed those off to something I prefer a little bit better. You don't need to do any of that, I just did. And sling wise and all that, I try to set it up pretty similar to the way I would my other firearms for practice sake. Anyway, awesome training tool. So I'm going to do some shooting with that here now. I have this thing sighted in for, I want to say it's about 50 yards. We're at 45 here, so it should be pretty much dead on. I found I can shoot without having to hold over the target dead on with a 50-yard zero out to about 100 yards with this red dot. And obviously anything closer isn't a problem either. If you're shooting farther than that, you're going to start developing some bad habits with the 22 that may not translate well to your AR-15 Chambered in 5.56 or 223, because those aren't going to be dropping enough to change your point of aim out to probably 200 yards minimum, and depending on your zero, I zero mine at about 36 yards so that I can basically hold point of aim, point of impact out to about 300 yards. And you know, the group size might be about this big or something out to 300 yards up or down throughout that range. So if you then take this thing and are shooting at a distance, you might get some bad habits of holding too high over your target. So I typically just try to use this thing within a distance that it would, the point of aim and everything would be identical to me training with my standard AR-15. Anyway. This thing has been super reliable for me so far. I mean, I've run like 1,500 rounds through it and with no malfunctions. Clean the thing, but this time I probably won't clean it. I'm just going to run the thing until it starts to have issues, just so I know what that point is. And it's a training tool. I do not recommend this as a substitute for a real AR or a better defensive weapon in your home. What this is for the guy who might already have some ARs, or he's already checked those boxes and he's learned how to, the basic function of those, and he could use them if he needed to defend himself, but he wants to practice and become a lot more proficient and go above and beyond just basic level of knowing how to operate the thing. You're going to be able to afford to shoot thousands and thousands of rounds through this at a fraction of the cost of what an AR would cost you in 223 or 5.56. I know some people don't like going from high ready down. I actually prefer that, I think. I've gotten more used to that. I used to do a lot of skeet shooting, a lot of bird hunting, and that's more natural for me because when you're bird hunting, you don't keep your shotgun down here like this and raise it up. It's almost always high ready. And so when something flies up, being able to do that with your shotgun, very natural to do that then with a rifle. And there are some pros and cons to each of them. The biggest obvious thing is if you're on the top floor of your house and you're carrying low ready, obviously your safety should be on as you're wandering around until you find or identify the threat. But if for some reason you had a negligent discharge, it's going through the floor if you're doing low ready. If you're high ready, it's going to go through the ceiling or go through the roof or go through whatever, and that could be good or bad depending on where you're at. Are you on the top floor or are you on the bottom floor? Now, most people aren't going to be thinking enough in a situation like that to switch between the two. I just prefer high ready personally. I've listened to some people I hold in pretty high esteem about the benefits of high ready. And not to be too graphic, but I want you to imagine if you're going around your home and you're in a high ready position, you've got this gun tucked in because there's a corner or there's something here that you're going to be going around. High ready position, if you come around the corner and there happens to be a threat there, think about where your muzzle is going to be in relation to where that threat is. Now I want you to think low ready. Think of where your muzzle is going to be in relation to where that threat's going to be. Now hopefully I don't have to spell it out for you, but if I had to choose where I'm driving rounds from here, trying to get them onto target versus here, this is a lot closer to something that's going to neutralize the threat very quickly than what a low ready position is going to be. So that's my personal preference. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, I'm just saying that's personally how I feel about it. And like I said, I feel like it's easier for me to go from high ready on target than it is low ready, but try it yourself, find out what works for you. See, low ready like this. I also feel like, I don't know, it feels to me from a low ready position like it's just not as smooth for me. Anyway, not only that, but if I'm moving around a structure and my firearm is going in and out, meaning you're going to cut corners or you're in tight spaces, and you're taking a 16-inch gun like this and you're having to tuck it in and then back out and in and back out. It's a lot easier for me to do that from high ready than it is low ready. So that's just my personal opinion. From my personal experience, I should say. Another thing you'll find is if you are used to practicing in a t-shirt and then you put on a really heavy coat like what I've got on here, the difference in bulk in terms of being able to operate the firearm is quite dramatic. I really noticed the difference having this coat on. And so practice in different clothing and different environments so you get a feel for what it's going to be like, because it will be different. You probably slow you down a little bit. If you have not practiced shooting while moving, that is a worthwhile thing to practice. I'm not the best at it by any means, but the more you do it, the more used to it you'll get. I'm gonna take, let's see if I got, how many mags I've got left loaded here. Take one of these with me. Got some other ones in my bag here. Put this in my pocket. If I have my war belt on, I could practice reloading from that. I'm just going to have this in my pocket and I'll just reload when I get out there. And I'm going to practice moving around. Right now I'm just going to try practicing going from high ready to on target and walking towards the target while firing. I believe I chambered around here. Another thing I'm just noticing about this high ready versus low ready for me personally is I don't reload down here, I reload up here. And so it's very natural. I go high when I reload. I'm carrying the gun high. I don't know, I just prefer it. But again, try it out for yourself and see what you like. I'm gonna lay down prone, go for some headshots on this target here. Obviously, if I lay down prone, just gonna rest this thing on the magazine. Some people tell you not to do that. I do it all the time. You're way steadier doing that. Anyway, I'm gonna just unload this as fast as I can, headshots on this target. Now I'm gonna switch over to my irons. I'm gonna dim my red dot to the point I can't see it. Switch to my irons. I leave my irons, generally speaking, on the wider aperture because it's a lot easier to accumulate or to acquire your sight picture quickly and to shoot that way. So that's the way I'm gonna do this. My red dot is now dim enough I can't see it at all. I'm gonna switch over just to irons. That's funny because I didn't have my back sight up. Let's try just using this as a large back sight with just my front sight and see how well that works at this distance. Apparently not too bad. Now we'll actually use the rear sight the way you're supposed to. I've mentioned in the past that recoil-wise, with this particular gun, very little recoil, but I have ARs that recoil. If the gas system's tuned properly and you have a brake or something like that on them, I have ARs that recoil probably about the same as these 22s that I could shoot. About the same speed as what you're seeing here at this particular distance. You can see people out there that are a lot better at it than I am. Now, as fast as you saw me unload those mags I think hold 25 rounds apiece. As fast as you saw me just unload all of those, that speed loader that I have from Tippman that they make for their specific magazines will allow you to load these magazines about as fast as what you just saw me discharge them. In fact, probably faster, because I had some, pauses where I'm either going high ready or from low ready. I can load those magazines as fast as what I just shot them. So if you think about 10 mags, 25 rounds a piece, 250 rounds of ammunition I just sent down range, and then I could turn around and load it faster than what I just shot it. You get the idea of what I'm talking about if you want trigger time and if you want the ability to train or practice. Now, what would make this way better is if you had a course of some kind set up to where you had barriers and different things to shoot off of in different positions. This was just to give you an idea of how this thing works and why I think it's such a great training tool. In the future, I'll probably do some videos that show different setups that way and how it can be used in different situations. But anyway, highly recommend them. Super awesome and very reliable. So anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Bye.